or hello again. I'm Frida Weisel, and in this channel, I explore topics related to Judaism, insular cultures, Yiddish, and much more. If you ask me, probably the most profound media created on the Hasidic community, which I cover extensively on this channel, is the fictional world of the Israeli Shtisel family, as presented first in the series Shtisel and now Kugel. It tells the story of these complicated human characters, a Hasidic patriarch, his artist son, their love, their frictions, their extended family, with a cast of characters from the Yiddish-speaking and hilarious Bubba to the ferociously strong daughter and granddaughter Gitti and Rachami. The stories are complicated, nuanced, heartbreaking, and beautiful. Today, I am so delighted to talk to the show's co-creator, Yonatan Indersky, who himself grew up Haredi and has created a series of gorgeous portraits of ultra-Orthodox life on film. Welcome, Yonatan. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me with you. It's an honor, and thank you for all the compliments. I will show it to my mother.
Okay.
She will be very proud.
Okay. It wasn't intended to be schmaltzy compliments. I just wanted the viewers to...
We are into schmaltzy stuff, not matter what, compliments, food, jokes, everything. If it's schmaltzy, I'm there.
Okay, I'm into. By the way, it's Pesach season now, so it's really appropriate because I grew up with schmaltz Pesach season, so I feel like we can do that.
You grew up in a Haredi family.
Yeah, in New York. I'm sure that there is tremendous differences between a Haredi family in New York and in Israel. Something I really love about the show actually is that it gave me some feeling of the nuances of the Haredi community in Israel. I grew up Satmar, which I guess puts me Hasidish, and there's this whole conversation of where the Shtisel family belongs. But before we talk about the show, I want to do your biography sort of in the way that you would introduce where you come from and describe your life story.
So I grew up in an ultra-Orthodox family, Haredi, in Jerusalem, in Givat Shaul neighborhood. It's in the entrance of Jerusalem. It's a Haredi neighborhood, unlike Mea Shearim, let's say. It's a bit more open, but still there is a lot of kind of Haredi there. It's Haredi community. And there is also a small group of people of Mea Shearim living there, because Givat Shaul, it was I think one of the first neighborhoods out of the walls
of Mea Shearim.
So it was Mea Shearim when they had no place. Mea Shearim was the first one actually. When they had no place in Mea Shearim, they went to Givat Shaul, then to Bet Shemesh, then to Beitar. There is also some. So, but my family, they are not from. They are, let's say, Litvak family. I grew up in Litvak yeshivas. I learned in Ponovich Yeshiva in Bnei Brak when I became almost 16, 15, around 16. And it was, I spent there, let's say, 3 years, almost 3 years. It was the most significant 3 years of my life, I guess, and the most tough 3 years of my life, which is always, not always, but sometime going together. When I was 18, towards 19, I left the yeshiva. It was not so clear. Like, it's not I left in one day. It took me some while till let's say 20 years till I defined myself as a secular guy, or I tried at least. And in these 20 years, I studied cinema in Jerusalem in Sam Spiegel Film School. I moved to Tel Aviv. I studied here in the university literature and philosophy. And 3 years ago, I met my wife, Eva. She just came to Israel as she did Aliyah. She grew up in Paris, in a, let's say, traditional family. And she came here. She started to find herself to more and more to the religion, And then we met on the corner, and we found ourselves kind of in the middle of Tel Aviv. I don't know if you know, we are living in the middle of Tel Aviv, but there is here a very small Hasidic community that they are here for let's say almost 100 years. Not these people,
Yeah, we understand. Their children.
But Tel Aviv used to be, it was a time when people was calling Tel Aviv a Hasidic city. It was a Hasidic city. A lot of rebbes was here. Like any corner of this city, you could find some small shtibel, some shul with a Hasidic rebbe, to find some lechaim, some honey cake in the mornings. So it's not anymore the case. There is here a very small community. Some, just for example, there is here in the street next our home, there is a small shtibel of Gerer Chassidim. Ger, as you know them, they had, only in Tel Aviv, they had more than 20 synagogues, more than 20 shtibels. And now they have one, and not always there is their minyan. They fight to get any morning minyan. They have only in the mornings prayer, if there is minyan. There is a shul of bells that they are more developed here, they're more based, so they have more, there is more options there, but not more than that. Like here and there, a very bit. So we found ourselves here, in between, on the border. I guess it's going to be some headline of our conversation. The borders, or the border, it's always the most interesting place to be.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, and you know it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm also on the board. It is the most interesting place to be. I agree with that. It's a difficult place to be as well. It's a very difficult place to be.
Yeah, but as we said, the difficult, it's always interesting
Yes.
and significant.
Yeah, that we said before. It's funny that you said that if something is hard, then it's a sign, it's a good sign. I actually believe that. I tend to believe that Agite Zach kim tun schwer, is as we say it in Yiddish.
In Yiddish, I know it like Reb Nachman, he talk about meniot, we say in Hebrew. Menies, it's something. If there is no, you need to ask yourself if you are on a good way. You know what I mean? So to do this conversation, we had some menies, and here we are, and
It's definitely a mitzvah. You're doing a mitzvah for me. That's not a shala. That's not a question.
mitzvah. You mean our talk?
Yeah.
No, I don't do it as a mitzvah. I do it just as a pleasure.
Lovely.
I don't mix between mitzvot and pleasure. No? Sometimes yes.
Your mitzvahs you make harder. Well, essentially what you're saying, you live in Tel Aviv, which we tend to think of as the secular city of Israel, but there is some Haredi community there, and you consider yourself part of it or on the border of it. Is that what you're saying?
I will tell you, I think what is charming for me and for my wife here in Tel Aviv is that we live here, and people used to ask me which community you are, which Hasidut, what is yours. So I used to answer, I'm independent. Like I'm here. If I want, I go to the shul. I pray there. I feel part. If I want, I go to some Sephardic shul, which I pray there any morning, very early on the net time. And I don't belong to any community really. And I think more than that, when I feel and. Eva, she know it, and always she do fun of me about it. When I feel too much part of some synagogue or some community, I don't come anymore. I found another place. It's when the synagogue became like a club, friends club. So I have
Why?
friends. I have not why. I guess it's I need to ask my therapist, which she does not exist. So. So I guess it's something that all over my life I found myself, and I found myself as an outsider, let's say, When I was in Ponovich, I found my way to let's say I think it's connected to the fact that and it's something that we try to tell in Shtisel, and in another part of my work, I always deal with this subject, how the Haredi world, there is a lot of colors inside, and this is what we try to describe. But in the end, and you know it better than me even, when you are part of this world, sometimes you need to lose your color, your special color, what your individual. And for a lot of people, it's tough. A lot of people, they are not conscious for this, but it's tough for them also. And I guess it's not only in the Haredi world. It's also, you can find it in a lot of traditional communities. Not only traditional communities, any community. When you are part of it, when you are try to be part of it, you need to pay some price. You need to be part. You need to play the role. You need to please the people around you. This is a part of to be a human being. There is a lot of pluses for it, but sometimes also some minus. And the minus is that you lose kind of part of your identity. You need to adapt yourself. And I guess I was not happy with this part. And this is, if I look at my life, I try to do some to look at it from far as I can, and I can't. But if I try, it's I didn't find myself part of, or I wanted to feel that I have something in special, that I have something. I learned in Ponovich, which is a huge place. I don't know if you was there, but if you are here again, go there. You see, when you come there, you see hundreds of people, 1,000 young people, young boys. They look, all of them, the same. They dress the same. They have the same ambitions, the same goals in life. They do the same. Their schedule, they look the same. When I was there, I just tried to find what make me special. From why I'm here if there is so much people and all of them they are the same. So why the world needs me? And it's something that I think any human being should to ask himself. I think also this is the role of art, of any art, to remind us that any human being, any person, a man, a woman, Jewish, non-Jewish, not matter. They are unique, they are special, they are one time, and they have their role in life. And when you get to know a story of a human being, you recognize it. Sometimes we walk on the street, we see so much people every day, on the bus, on the train, on the subway, I don't know where. We don't even recognize them. We don't see them as they are just some faces around us. But the moment when we got to know that they are someone, they are walking in the world and they have troubles, it's just when you got to listen their story. And it can be when you are on a bus station and you hear someone talk with his daughter, with his wife, you hear some story, you hear a guy, he's heartbreaking from someone just left him, or a girl, not matter, and you look at him or at her and you understand that there is a human being. And this is what story, a good story, but even not good enough, can bring us.
It's interesting what you're saying, because I think I relate a lot to the idea that there is a sense of the challenge of individuation, of becoming your full self inside a world where you're very in the club, right? And this is not just in the Haredi world, but it's very much there. And I think it's interesting as an artist, in order for you to tell the stories of people's individuality in the Haredi world, you needed to step out. Would you agree?
Yeah, you ask if I had to go out of the community to tell the story of Shtisel or the other stories. I'd say, of course. Sometime to see to see your life, to see your home, in another light, you need to go out and to look at it from outside. And it's not always something possible because usually when you leave your home, you have the moment to stay outside and to look at it, like you just want to run away, you just want to find a new home or to, but it's something that I recommend to anyone to go to his childhood home and to look at it from outside. It can be the home where still his family, his or her family, they live there, or not. It's funny because I had interview in the New York Times, and we talk about it. Part of it, I took the journalist Daniel. We went to Givat Shaul, to my childhood neighborhood. My parents, they are still living there. We were in their home, but it's not the home where I grew up. They live just 5 blocks next to, but not the same home. They left it, let's say, 15 years ago, something like this. And from the day they left this home, I never was there in the home where I grew up. I didn't want to go there because for me, the fact that my parents, they are not there anymore, it was kind of a crisis. Like, not really, because I talk about let's hope this gonna be our tzures, but it is a tzures, and when they left, it was a feeling of something. I lose something. I lose because there is nothing more bring you comfort than the fact that you can always go back to the place you grew up, to the home. So there is this home. My parents, they have beautiful home. They have the same Warmkeit that they had in the old one, but in another way. It's a new home. There is no any memories for my childhood there. So to make the story short, which it will not be the case anymore, but to try, I went with Daniel to the old building where I grew up, and I told him, listen, let's go, let's knock on the door and let's see what's going to be, and maybe they will open and we will have the opportunity to go there. And we knock on the door. Someone opened the door, some cute guy, actually is American, originally ex-American, and I told him I was living here in this home for some years, and if it's okay just to take a look. And he said, of course, come. And it was not the same home because they did renovation. And they did it's look a different place, but it is kind of the same home. You can recognize it. But and I was very moving to be there. I had tears in my eyes, and I think I got in that moment that not matter what, even if it was the same home where I grew up, even my parents was there still, living there. When you come back after so much years to your home, it's not anymore your home, and you are not anymore the same person. So you are not coming back to your home. As Thomas Wolfe used to say, you can't go back home again.
Yeah.
And another person, a huge person in the history, say you can't dip in the same river twice.
It's
because you are not the same person and the river is not the same. But you can try. And
but you were very emotional. Why?
I am.
Why?
Why?
Why were you emotional there?
Because I am a human being.
It brought up a lot of
animals also. Sometimes they are very emotional. You see dogs or you can be very moving by them. Dogs, for me, they are very emotional creatures. You look at the dog, you see all the sorrow of the world, of the existing in their face. But I think all of us, we are emotional. Some of us.
No, I mean when you went back home.
Yeah, exactly.
What was so emotional about it? I'm asking because my parents also moved out of my childhood home. They lived there for my entire childhood. And sometimes I see pictures and there were renovations, they added this, they added that. I look at it and I think, I don't know. I think if I'll go, I'll be so fixated on what's been changed, I don't know if I'll be able to access the emotions or what emotions would come forth.
I will tell you. I guess this is the fact. This is the reason I didn't go. I didn't try to go there. Also because it's not so polite to knock on the door of someone if you have no journalist with from the New York Times with you. They was very exciting about it. So for them, because they are Americans, they know what is it. I'm not sure if it was some just Haredi person. He has the same excitement, but I didn't go there also because I had the memory of this home. Like for me, it was still exist as I remember it, and I didn't want to replace it in another memory. And indeed, I replace it now in another memory because I was there and I saw the home. As I said, it's look a bit the same, not the same because they did some change. But I will tell you something. You know, sometimes it's good to have this new look, and it was not really a new look because when I was there, I met myself. You know, I had so much memories. I had so much memories from this home, beautiful memories and sad memories and horrible memories and amazing, like in any childhood home. And I saw myself as a child walking still in this home. You know, it was nice to meet this Haredi child again. He is still there. I believe in it.
What did you tell him?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's something that always, like in movies or in like there is this kind of meeting between people in the same people but in another place. But you know what? I never did this kind of conversation with myself. So I'm not sure I will tell him nothing, like, and I didn't actually. But it's not only about myself, you know. I feel the same feeling when I'm in Eastern Europe, when I go to Warsaw or to Budapest or another lost places from our history, where my grandparents they was walking. And I feel them. I feel them when I walk there. I feel there is something I lose that it's there, and I can't find it. Even I born here not in Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, but I born in Israel, and I have still nostalgic feeling for a place where our people had so much, so rich history.
Yeah.
And horrible history, and amazing, and tremendous, and all of these words, but they are still walking there.
Yeah, that's very interesting. On the note of you visiting your childhood home, there is the interesting concept of this Haredi kid. Probably would have never imagined you'd go on the life journey you went on. I mean, your life turned out extraordinary. Is that too schmaltzy to say?
I will tell you something. It's you talk about like the like about Shtisel, etc., or just about
going on such a tremendous journey.
So I will tell you, you know, it's something I ask myself in some points of my life, you know, and I guess anyone ask himself these kind of questions. What if? Which is mean, you know, what if my parents they was insist not to let me go to Ponevezh, because Ponevezh it's a great yeshiva, but it's also a very tough place to be there, very tough place to be accepted, and also when you are accepted to survive there, I call myself sometimes Ponevezh survivor in a joke.
We understood.
And my parents, they was not sure it's a good idea for me to go there. And they wanted me to go to a smaller place, more like boutique yeshiva, you know, with more or less people. And there is more personal feeling, people like, and people see you, people know what you are doing in the night, in the days in Ponevezh, you know, you can go, you can come, nobody know, nobody care. Not anymore. In my time, in my time, it was like this. It's not like this anymore, but in a way it is. But so what if my parents was insist to not let me go there, or to go to another place? And maybe I was very happy in the yeshiva. I was less lonely, and I had more success in the yeshiva. Maybe I will stay in the Haredi world, and we was not talking now, and this picture was not exist in the world.
The picture, let's just explain. The picture is iconic from Shtisel. In Shtisel, it's illustrated, it's painted by Akiva.
Yeah, the painter actually is a very, very talented and nice guy. His name is Alex Tubis. He's a painter based here in Tel Aviv. So, saying that, I still believe that there is something in life we used to call it destiny, and I think for myself and for you, if I can say it, I can't, but you will get what I try to say. I think there is some souls that they have a destiny to go. They have role in life to go to search to find their place, and not matter what they will do it. I really believe in it, but I can't approve it. But I believe that if I was in another yeshiva, maybe it was happened later. Maybe it was it was happened in another way. Maybe I don't know. I was not there, but it was up. I was finding myself out of the Haredi world, and in the same time, I was finding myself back in the I had some teacher in the cinema school where I learned, where I studied. He used to say, and I took it to my life and to my work. He says character, like fiction character, the only act he can do is something that in the same time gonna surprise him and us, the viewers, but in the same time he can't do any other thing, which is oxymoron kind of, but it's true if you will think about any fictional character or not fictional. Yeah, people doing decisions in their life. 3 years ago, I was in some. I'm still doing. I'm writing a series that connect somehow to my story. So I did some presentation, and the people in the presentation asked, and the guy there is dealing with he's ex-Haredi, and he has some flirt with the Haredi world again. So they asked me, there is a chance you're gonna find yourself again in the Haredi world, and I was very clear about it. I say, no way, not because I like the Haredi world. I have a lot of critique about this world, but I embrace it. I like these people. I had nothing in my life except this world, and I'm very thankful to belong to this world, to grow up there. And in the same time, I was sure I will not come back to it just because there is no way. I told them, listen, I went too far. And there is no chance I will be back there. And if I will be, it will be very different way, which is true, kind of. But I never imagined that I will speak with you, and I will look at myself on the screen, and this is the guy I'm gonna see. And in the same time, I will tell you, for years, when I look at myself in the mirror, I ask the guy there, who are you? What I gonna do with you? I didn't recognize him, and now I recognize myself. I think it's a good feeling, and in the end, it's more about this. It's more about I really believe that it's not about. Of course, it's connected to belief and to religious questions and to life situations and to choices. But in the end, it's just how you feel when you look at yourself, and if you feel you are in your skin, or you feel you are in another skin. And sometimes it's good to be in another skin also. There is no problem. It's a beautiful experience. It's a beautiful life. I have no regression not about this. And you know what? You never know.
You never
I don't know
know.
what's
It's
going to be with me in the
future.
coming years. Maybe I will look in a different way. Let's see. There is some years to live here, so
The character is gonna surprise us.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And also to do what he has no other choice.
There's no other choice to do, exactly. Can I ask this question? How would you say if to the question, why did you become Haredi again? Do you have like an easy answer?
So there is no easy answer because if it was easy, so it was not taking 20 years, and it was. It's funny because I spent with Daniel, the journalist of the New York Times. We spent together 1 week, and it was very very intense. I never talked so much in my life, and he tried to understand it and try again and again and again to get what is it, what is the story, and I try to say this and this and this, and then I told him, listen, I think if I had very clear answer for this question, I'm not sure you was sitting now next to me. And I think it's true for anything, any choice we take in our life. It's tough, just now, 20 years after, I can start to understand why I left the
Yeah.
Haredi life, because I had so much answer for this question. Still, I have a lot, but I try to start to define and to tell myself what was what I was searching for. So let's talk in 20 years. But to try to answer, part of the reason I do interviews in my life, it's because there is, after some headline, someone take all what I say, all the bullshit I say, and he put it under some headline. Usually it's the editor. In this case, you are also the editor, so you're gonna do it, I guess. And you know what? It can be a bit frustrating to see that your life going inside the one sentence, and it can be a bit reductive. But in the same time, it's beautiful because it can help yourself to tell the story of yourself. And I will tell you something. I did some interview here in Tel Aviv for some Israeli newspaper just after I came back to look like this. Which it took time, it was not in one day, of course. And I say something during the interview that I didn't even think about it, like as we talk. And the editor took it to the headline of the article. And the headline was with huge, we say, Kiddush Levana letters, like it was huge, so it was very powerful. I say, I say it, well, it's nice. So
What did it say?
Yeah, I will tell you, don't worry. It was written, I try so much years, and it was shorter, but I don't think exactly, but in so much ways to be secular, and in 1 second I just stopped to try. And I think it's kind of true. And I don't judge myself for this trying. I think it's, as I told you already, it's beautiful. It's part of our experience as a human being. We grow up and we want always to be what we are not. It's I guess if it was not the case, we was not staying alive. It's part of what make us to live, make us to wait for the next moment, to try or to convince yourself that you're going to achieve something that you have no. It can be the next stage in your career. It can be the love you are searching for. It can be some spiritual goal. I don't know. A lot of things it can be. And anyone with his desires, with his. By the way, it was a guy, very interesting guy, intellectual. I'm sure you know him, Jacques Lacan, the French
Philosopher.
theoretician, and he's saying something very interesting about. He talk about that any human being has some desire. He call it desire, and desire it can be some goal that he want to achieve. Most of the time, he don't know what is his desire. By the way, for Lacan, and part of the therapy, the therapy process of Lacan is to get to know what is your desire. But what is interesting that he say, when you got your desire, what is it? Never try to go to achieve to get it, to achieve it, because then in the day you're gonna destroy your life. You're gonna find that you have no reason to be alive anymore. So he say, put it on a small fire, like a good chunt or kigel, and wait. Don't kill it. Don't eat it.
Yeah.
Close the fire under the pot. Wait. It's good to have small fire. You don't need to have big fire, and not too small, but let it to cook. It's good to have something, some desire. So I say, we try to be what we are not, and we don't need to be judgmental for this. The opposite, we need to embrace it. But I think I had this desire to be what I'm not. I grew up as a Haredi person, Haredi boy. I was I look for a lot of years from my childhood. I look out from the bus, from I remember this when I was a child. Sometimes my parents, they was going to Miron, to Reb Shimon grave in Lag BaOmer, and I can't, like always, it's the road to the north, and you go through Tveria, Tiberias, and then you come to Miron, and this journey, it was something. The Reb Shimon, it was the most less interesting thing for me at that time. But the road for there, it was so, to see the world, to see the Kinneret, the Sea of Galilee, and to see, just the world, life, secular people, you can say free people, or just people, to look at them and to say, why I'm stuck here in the bus and I need to hide the fact that I'm looking through the window from my father. Why I can't just be there and he will look at me? Or they will look at me from the, So I was always curious about the world out of the yeshiva, of the Haredi life, and in one moment I say, I'm gonna go to live this life, and it was a beautiful journey. I will not give up on any moment in this journey. As well, I will not give up on any moment in my childhood or my life in general.
It's very interesting to me because I feel like I'm like you, I'm on the border. I am on the other side of the border. I think we're very close to each other on that border, but like identity-wise, I identify on the other side of the border. And I get asked all the time. I go to Williamsburg where I give tours, and here and there someone say, "No, when are you coming back?" Like that. People want a very easy answer, like, are you on this side of the border, the other side of the border, right? I'm sure people drive you crazy to explain why you identify now on the other side, and they want you to reduce everything to a headline, like you said. I think when I read the article in the New York Times, which was wonderful. When I read it, I was thinking to myself, the Haredi world is very limiting creatively. Maybe he has grown the kinds of creative wings that by now you're no longer constrained wherever you are. So now you can have, the community or the identity or the reflection in the mirror that speaks to you without feeling limited creatively. I don't know. This is just something that I was thinking about.
I guess it's true, and I think it's, I don't know you, of course, but just from what you told me and what I look a bit about on your videos on YouTube. So you did kind of a beautiful thing, like because you take people to the places where you grow up, but you take them as a guide now. Like you kind of you look outside of your home and you bring people to look at it, and it's a beautiful thing. And I think it's something that I wish for any ex-Haredi to be able to come back to his to his childhood, to the place where he grew up. Sometimes it's very tough, people has very difficult stories, very difficult childhood. A lot of times it's abusing stories, and there is people, they have no this luxus, we say in Hebrew, this luxury choice to go back to the childhood. And still, also for them, I wish for anyone to be able to do some, to be peaceful with in a way, it's tough to be peaceful with every part of your childhood, with every part of what the decisions the people around you took for you. And still, I think it's part of to have kind of good relationship with the world, with yourself. It's to be able at least to go to visit. And I say always I meet sometimes young people that they left the community, and the only thing that I have to tell them, it's like try, not matter what, try to be in touch with your family as you can, and even if it's tough, even because to forgive, or let's say it in another way, like Buddha, the Buddhism used to say like about the people you are in this connection, in fight with them, you are in the most attachment, more than the people you meet any day. The one you don't speak, your relationship with him or with her, it's much stronger than the one you meet any day. And sometimes for us, it's good to have to close some page and to say, yeah, it was tough, it was complicated, but it was. And now I can look at it from outside. I can, and I will tell you some story about some guy was living not far from here, like two blocks from where we live, in Berdichevsky Street. His name was Gil Perlmutter, but people know him more as in the name that he was living most of his life, Avot Yeshurun. I don't know if you got to hear about this guy. He's kind of a famous. He's not alive anymore. He passed away. Let's say I think 15, 20, maybe more years ago. I don't remember. And Avot Yeshurun, he's I will not say very famous because it's not true, but people know who is Avot Yeshurun. He wrote a lot of beautiful poems, very deep, very charming, very, very moving poems. And his story was that he grew up in some shtetl in Poland. I think the name of the place is Przedmieście. And it's this kind of a names that you just say the name and you have already Irrei Chive, Mieszcze. So he grew up there, and when he was 15 or 16 or something like this, he left the home during the night time. He didn't say even hello or bye-bye or something to his family, and he went to Palestine, to Israel. It was Palestine in that time, and he went because he had dreams. He wanted to be Zionist. He was already Zionist without he knew, and he came here, and for years his family, his mother was writing him letters in Yiddish, and he never opened them. Of course, he never sent the answer, and all of them, they went to the camps. They died there, and every day of his life, he was dealing with this question: why you didn't open the letters? Why you didn't read it? Why you didn't send something back? Your mother, she is writing to you, And he say I saw some interview with him, and he talked about it, and he wrote also a beautiful poems about it, about this story. But he says something funny. He say, just answer something. Say hello. Say thank you. Say kushin toches. Say something. Don't be this kind of a person to not open. And when I meet these people, like young people, they left the community. Some of them, they have no relationship with the families. I just tell them, listen, I'm sure your families, they are sending letters for you, literally letters or SMS, or they call you, or some message by something. At least open and read it. Just this. Because it's going to come a day that you're going to regret about it. And not matter what's happened there. And I'm sure, what is mean I'm sure? I know some of them, they deal with very, very difficult stories, very, very difficult childhood. And I will try to translate you one sentence of what one of his poems. He talk about. It's not a good translation because my English, it's as you got, it's a very high budget English. So my translation is even expensive. But he talk about, he say, how you call it when you are continue to get letters from your hometown, from your childhood home, and the home is not exist anymore. And this guy continue till the end of his life to get letters from Auschwitz, from Przedmieście, from heaven, I don't know from where, and he could not answer for it anymore. He wrote a beautiful poems, which is also important. But you know what? There is a story. And stop me when I talk too much because I
go on.
Just last one. I was reading lately about in the end of his life. It was here some synagogue, Hasidic synagogue, that he was coming there any Shabbat morning for a short time for the beginning of Shacharit, to Psukei de Zimra and till Shoichenad. And when the Chazan was coming to Shoichenad, he had some minhag. He started to yell. He say, Trisker Stibel, because in Przedmieście it was some Trisker Stibels. It was Trisker Chassidim. They was there, and I don't know. He had this desire to. I guess most of them they die. They was victims in the Holocaust. And he came, and in the beginning the Gabbai was, listen, it's not possible that anyone gonna come here and in Shoichenad gonna yell the shtetl where he came from or the shtibel. But in the end he say, okay, go for it. Do it. And he did it for any Shabbat. He was Trisker Shtibel.
Was it in memory of? Is that what he meant by it? Why is he screaming Trisker Shtibel? What is he hoping to communicate?
I think I don't know exactly, but if I had the option to ask him, I would like to do it. But if you ask me, I think he wanted to represent it, kind of like to recreate his memory. And when he came to the synagogue in Tel Aviv, that, Tel Aviv is the only place in the world, maybe, that kind of you can feel a bit a feeling of a shtetl. I don't know if you can understand it. Yeah, it's strange. And by the way, he wrote also a beautiful poem about this. He described how Tel Aviv let you to bring your memories and your the name of the poet, it's Peklaot, which is mean Pekalach in Hebrew.
Sacks of baggage.
You can go in Tel Aviv, you can walk, and Tel Aviv let you to drag your memories, your luggage, your Pekalach behind you, and Tel Aviv accept it. He say she in Hebrew we say she. It's a city. It understand it. It understand it. It can accept it. You are welcome. It embraced it. Come, bring your memories. And it's funny because it's tough to find it today in Tel Aviv. But who knows Tel Aviv good? You can find small corners that you walk there and you feel you are in some shtetl. You are in Eastern Europe somehow, because the people established this city, most of them they came from these places. You know what? As the shtetl in the east side, you can also walk there and to feel you are walking in some shtetl.
Maybe.
Try to do it.
I can put it to test. I feel like it's more so in Israel than it is in Manhattan.
I see.
Yeah, it may be in Williamsburg to some degree. It doesn't feel to me like a
No,
shtetl.
I don't talk about the Hasidic areas. Actually, I talk about the area where the first people from the Eastern Europe came to the
Like
U.S.
Lower
and
East
they
Side,
tried to
yeah.
establish their life. I talk about this place that there is no Haredi people there anymore, but you feel you smell the airing from the corners. From
I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna go and put it to test. It's not far from me. I'll come with the right orientation to be able to communicate with the past. I think that's the trick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And orientation it's to the east, to the orient. And it's funny because when we were in Europe, we was thinking on the east, on Eretz Israel. Our grandparents, they was waiting to come here. They always were in kind of in Eastern Europe, which is the people of the West always was very. They look at them like kind of people from the past. I think orientation. It's always it's about your roots.
I want to talk to you about the making of Shtisel. I'm sure you have done so much promotion in Hebrew that I'm asking you questions that you've been asked a bunch of times, but forgive me that I'm going to ask you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Feel free.
In what context? Just tell me the story of making Shtisel in whatever way you feel like talking about it. How did it come to be? What was your experience with the reception? What do you think made it so magical?
The beginning was very simple. Like I met kind of by chance my co-writer Ori Elon. I knew his cousin, and I kind of I found by chance, if there is a chance, a book he just wrote, a beautiful book called in Hebrew we call it a Mofa. We called it a Mofa Nistar, which we can translate it to the hidden performance or the hidden show or something like this. It's kind of short stories, beautiful, and I was reading it and I felt I need to know this guy. Like I read and sometimes I felt it's something I wrote or something I would like to write. And then we met actually in a small restaurant, Jewish restaurant in next to Mea Shearim in Jerusalem called Shtisel. This was the name of the restaurant. Actually, it's Shteisel. It's the name of the family. It was a branch of the main restaurant that placed in Bnei Brak. And this branch actually not exist anymore. In Jerusalem there is no Shtisel anymore, only in Bnei Brak. There is two now. And so we was sitting, we talk, and we eat some piece of kigel, and we say, not matter what we're going to do together, because we wanted to do something together, we're going to call it Shtisel. And if it's going to be a series, a movie, or a sandwiches kiosk. And in the end, it was a sandwiches kiosk, as you know. And we start to work on write something, and in the beginning it looked like some internal joke that only both of us or maybe very small people we know can understand and enjoy from it. But we talk with some producer and the producer of Shtisel, her name is Dikla Barkai, and she was reading it. She liked it. She liked it very much. She said, but it takes time to sell a series. And then she went to the broadcaster, to Yes. It's funny because in Yes, in this broadcaster, just a bit before the time I'm talking about, they had some series called Srugim. I don't know if you had to hear.
Yeah, I watched it.
A beautiful series. Actually, Ori, he was one of the writers of this series. And it's about, like, let's say, modern Orthodox living in Jerusalem. religious, but very far from the Shtisel family. Broadcaster people, they told her, listen, she told them, I have a new series I want to represent. They say, listen, if there is any religious people in this new series, come back to us in some years because we have too much. It's funny to say it because from that time there is so much religious story on the Israel TV, and not only on the Israeli TV, by the way. And it's became kind of a genre
Yeah.
of Haredi stories, and so you say if there is this kind of characters, come in some years because we just had some. So she say she is a smart woman. She say, listen, there is no even one religious character in this series. So read it and let's talk. After you read it, and you know what? After 2 weeks, they sign on this theory, which it was for us. It was not less than a miracle because I just finished the cinema school. Ori, he was part of the writing of Srugim, but it was not his series. He worked for the creators. So it was a dream, and you know what? It's still a dream. Sometime I feel this story went too far from the from me, from us, that it's kind of a balloon that you try to hold it, and in one moment it's not in your hand anymore. It went very far that you ask yourself, it's mine. I don't remember. Sometimes.
Yeah. It could almost be a little bit painful, no? Because it's
You know what? There is this pasuk of I don't remember. I guess from Mishlei or from Kohelet. It say "Shlach lachmecha al pnei hamayim ki berov hayamim timtzaenu." I will try to translate it. Send your bread on the water, and one day you're gonna find it. As I look at it, most of my life, it's mean like invest now, and one day you will find it maybe. But in one moment, I got that for me the meaning is like release it,
Yeah.
let it go, and one day maybe you will find it, and maybe not. And it's remind me some moment some years ago. I was in Paris before I knew Eva, before I knew Paris is gonna be part of my life, because the family of Eva, they still live there, so we spent part of our life there. And so I was there just for some vacation. I don't remember, some festival or something. And I went very early in the morning to the Seine, to the river. I was sitting on the Seine. Then I saw under me something on the water, and it was a baguette. A baguette on the water, and then it came another one and another one. It was like kind of I don't know, parades of baguette on the river. And then after I asked someone, what is it? So he say, they have the boulangeries, or I don't know, the baguetteries. They have nothing to do with the baguette of yesterday. They put it in the water for the birds, etc. And I saw the bread going on the water, and then it was some beautiful nachat. They was very comfort on the water, and it's looked like they have plan. But I'm not sure about it.
It spoke to your bread arriving on water.
Yeah, so sometime you just need to release, to say let it
Yeah.
go, and it's tough, as you say. It can be painful. You write something, then it's go to hands of the director, the producers, the broadcaster, anyone he has what to say, and you must to say to yourself, okay, it's mine, or it was mine, not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore, and let's see, maybe it will come back and maybe not. It's good to sometime to be Buddhist. It's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Not sure Jewish people they can understand it because we are stuck on we have a huge attachment for things as human being, not only as Jewish, but it's good sometimes to say to release stuff, to say to let stuff to go, to let things to go, to let the memories to go, to be more forgivable for anything.
I think a lot of times something you create, something you make, may it be children, maybe a house, your first house, or your creative work. It's hard to let it go. Once you've let it go, it becomes something else. But
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah, but you sometime when you find the new thing, you have a huge opportunity when you are able to look at it in the new look, in the new light there is on it, you can find because the most easy thing is to say to be nostalgic and to say these days they are not anymore, and with the TikTok and people they are so this it's horrible, people there is no respect for anything, for this for any image, like the image became so cheap to create even a video. I don't talk even about the AI generation, but also, and it can bring some fear, some discomfort, some anxiety even to say where we. And it was a Jewish guy actually, a philosopher, Walter Benjamin, and Walter Benjamin, as
Benjamin.
the Americans call him, and he wrote a lot of years ago. I don't know how to say it in English, but who want can find it very easily. But he wrote a book about. It was the time when they just start to do pictures, like they developed the camera, the first cameras, and it was kind of a disaster for the art world because it's mean there is no respect anymore to the painters, to any creation, because you can do so easily imitation of the world, of the reality. So what is the difference if you spend a lifetime to do painting or you take a picture of it? And he create this book to say to tell us how there is always when you destroyed something, so you can cry and to say, oh, it's horrible, what we gonna do? Or you can try to dig inside the destroying home. How you say? Like the sand or the stones that stay from the old home.
The rubble.
And maybe you will find a beautiful new thing.
Upcycling from.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way, why is there a toothbrush in your hand? Just asking as an aside.
This?
Yes.
It's a funny question. It's the most like Tzili, the most game she like. It's this one. So always when she cry, like this is the magic thing. Like she take it and she relax. She like it so much, and she try always to put it in my mouth to clean
brush
to brush my
brush your
teeth.
teeth.
Yeah.
I thought
yeah,
it had
it's
something to
amazing.
do with the baby.
Yeah.
Because you were talking with your hands and a toothbrush came out
Yeah,
from
so
your
what
bag
is
of
this?
tricks.
Yeah, so
Next,
bye bye brush.
yeah, I was waiting for baguettes to come next.
Yeah.
Can I play a scene from Shtisel?
Yeah, of course.
And then we can say what.
I will tell you something. Just before you do it, I for because we just did the prequel of Shtisel that deal with two characters from Shtisel, Nochem and Libby, and the most rational thing to do is to go and to watch Shtisel and to see what's going to be with these people, to know what to write. And I insist not to do it. I didn't watch it for some years, this series, because in a way they are the same people, but also they are another people, as we just talk for 2 hours, I guess, almost. So let's watch. I didn't watch it for a long time, so it will be interesting.
It's not gonna have the characters from Kugel. It's good.
No, no problem. Not matter what. It's
Yeah.
I just say I didn't watch Tissel for some years.
Okay, your reaction is going to be interesting. I picked the scene because I gave you the choice to pick, and you let me pick.
Yeah, it's very good. Very
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Choice. Already without I know what is it. Perfect choice.
Okay, thank you. Akiva, one of the two main characters, really, he's a single man in his early 20s. He's also a teacher in the boys' school. He has a student who has a mother who's twice widowed, and he takes a shine to her, and he really likes her, and he really wants to date her. And it's a little bit dating outside of his league, lower than his league, because she's twice widowed and he's single, never been married. And he's really after her, and after one date, they turn him down, and this is what follows.
אבל מה? כל הזמן הוא הולך עם אחרות.
Poster designs, would we? So you need to keep your focus on Pam. Make her happy. Look who I found! It's Honey!
It's after this.
כד שם בקדושת השבוס איי 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 גוד שבס.
גוד שבס, תזכירו לי, מי אתם?
אני עקיבא שטיסל.
עקיבא שטיסל, הרבא של סטרוליק?
כן, גם.
תיכנסו, מה אתם עומדים בחוץ? קר? תאכלו משהו? כוס תה?
אולי כוס תה.
כוס תה.
לא מבין.
זה לא מתאים שתבוא ככה פתאום.
במה זכינו לכזה ביקור, הרב שטיסל?
האמת היא אני רציתי לשאול איזה פגם מצאתם בי.
מה?
אני לא מבין. אני אולי לא גדול הדור, בסדר. אבל למדתי כמה שנים בישיבות. ואני אולי לא עשיר גדול. אבל יש לי עבודה, ואני בריא, ואני רוצה להתחתן עם אלישבע. זה בגלל שאני לא רבע מספיק טוב?
לא, לא. החיים לא כך פשוטים. אנשים עוברים דברים. אתם צריכים לכבד את זה. הרב שטיסל, אולי תלכו הביתה. אתם נראים עוד עייפים.
So it's interesting you choose this one. I think it's one of the scenes that Akiva is, of course, he's one of the two main characters of the series, together with his father Shulem, and always there is a question: who is the main character? Who is more? Which apparently it's Akiva. Like it's look like Akiva is the main character because he's the young and he's the one. Most of the viewers, the boys and girls, they fall in love with. So I guess there is good reason, but Shulem is the one doing acting in the world. Like Akiva is a bit like he follow kind of, and he has and it's a bit tough to be main character and to be the lead, but to not lead, So this scene actually, it's one of the scenes. There is another some, but that Akiva he's standing and he's going to do something. Like he do something, and it's a big failure. He come there and he asked himself if it was better to stay home with his snoring father. It was a funny story. When we work on the first season, this one, and the season starts by a dream. The dream of Akiva. He dream about his mother eating kigel in some Jewish restaurant with a friend. One of the producers, he didn't like this opening. He say, "What is this to start a series with a dream? It's not. You need to bring to bring the meat. Don't start with the kigel." And I remember Ori Elon. My partner, the co-writer of Shtisel, he says he quotes some song. It was some song in that time on the Israeli radio, a beautiful song. And there is of Dudu Tassa. I like this guy very much. So he has a song and there is some line there. He say, "It's better to have a tremendous failure than dreams in a shelf." So Ori was, when we talk about it, was very funny. He brought this citat and he say, it's better to have tremendous failure than a dream about kigel in a shelf, and I guess it was the last sentence for this discussion because it is in the beginning of the series, as we know, and it is a tremendous failure, and also a dream in a shelf. So it's nice you choose this one. What I got from it's two beautiful Shabbos Zmires, Korech Soif and Cory Boyne, and I sing both of them in these melodies. Any Shabbat dinner, any Friday dinner, and it's nice to see it now.
How do you feel seeing it now?
It depends. Sometimes it's very moving and it's with a lot of fire, and sometimes you just want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And you just finish to eat and you say, "Oh, it was a long week." So like everything in life, it's sometimes you are the one singing and sometimes you are the one snoring. Both, they are sitting inside you, Shulem and Akiva, and never with who you are identified more. Like all the characters of Shtisel, it's Shulem, and maybe with this it will be a nice closure for our talk. In the last scene of Shtisel, in the last season, he quote a sentence of Isaac Singer, Bashevis Singer, that he says, "Any one of us is a cemetery, a living cemetery walking, and inside us it's all the people we knew, all the people we met, all the people that we didn't met but we hear about them from the camps, from Eastern Europe, from north of Africa, not matter where, they are sitting inside us and we walk in the same way. I will tell you, all the characters of Shtisel, they are walking inside me and inside Ori as well, as I know. and the boys, the girls, the women, the women, the men, and sometimes it's heavy. Most of the time, it's nice to know that more people help us to carry them.
Yeah, that there's more. That's very beautiful. Let's wrap up then, because you've given me so much of your time, and I want to wrap this up with
I'm not
talking.
sure YouTube they will let you to put so long
So long?
video.
I think you can put a video of like 24 hours if you want to,
I
but don't
see, I
worry.
see.
You don't
So
have
we
to
can
worry.
continue.
You don't have to worry about it.
It was a time when it was only I'm old, only 20 minutes or something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot has changed. There, you can do multiple hours now, but you don't have to worry.
Yeah,
I
no,
know.
actually, I know. For if when Tilly she was very young, a small baby, so you need to put. There is on YouTube a beautiful clips that you can put like 9 hours of
Yeah,
some baby
exactly.
songs or music or like just some sound that make babies to relax. So I remember this part.
Yes, we'll
Because
do.
I
I
use
now
it.
know the headline for this video: 9 hours of Jonathan and Dursky
Better
with
for
a
anyone
toothbrush.
to not be there in this video. Yeah, but
Well,
thank you for this. For me, it was very moving to remember all this, to remind all these memories, and thank you for the opportunity to be part of your experience of what you bring for people. And
oh, thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. I want to share with my viewers what you're working on now. Can you briefly say that as we go out?
Yeah, so we are working now on, I say we because I work with the director of Shtisel, Alon Zingman. He's gonna direct also the new project. It's called Lost Paradise, and it's a series, periodical series taking place in Eastern Europe, in a small shtetl in the 19th century, and it's very very moving to deal with this
Yeah.
period. It's kind of very far, but it's also it's crazy. I just wrote the last episode, and I will not do spoilers, but I felt I'm writing something that happening just now. So Lost Paradise.
Lost Paradise. When is it?
Always about the paradise and the feeling of to lose your paradise
Yeah.
and to be out of it. As
So,
it can be a childhood home, it can be a paradise, it can be anything.
can be the shtetl.
Exactly.
So that's not filming yet.
No, we're gonna shoot it Be'ezrat Hashem in the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, in
Nice.
September, something like this.
Is Kugel done shooting completely? It's all.
Yeah. Kugel already was here. All
Yeah.
the episodes was aired in Israel. Now it's aired on Easy all over the world. It's gonna. I think they are now in the fifth episode.
Fifth.
or
I think the
sixth.
fifth.
Yeah, and we finished to shoot the first season. I hope we're gonna shoot the second season one day.
Nice. Lovely. Well, I'm gonna link whatever I can find online to your projects. Thank you so much for sharing so late at night.
No
So
problem.
much
It was
of
my
yourself.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frida.
Thank
Have a
you.
good-
And thank
Bye-bye.
you, and thank you also to the viewers and the podcast listeners. And bye bye.